Welcome, friends. We are broadcasting live from Pebble Hill, the historic Scott Yarborough House in Auburn, home of the Caroline Marshall Drawn Center for the Arts and Humanities and the College of Liberal Arts at Auburn University. This is Mark Wilson, and I am joined by men's basketball head coach Bruce Pearl. Welcome to Pebble Hill, Coach.
It's great to be here, Mark. This is a beautiful, beautiful building.
I'm so happy that you are here with us for this conversation. This situation, the pandemic, has obviously restructured and shaped our lives tremendously. Now, I know basketball might seem trivial at a time like this, but it's true. Sports are a major part of our lives, and for basketball, especially in March. To put it bluntly, we miss seeing you and the team on the court. How are you and the team doing?
Well, Mark, we miss seeing you guys too. I'm afraid we've never seen anything quite like this year's March Madness because the whole world is going through it in a different way. But oftentimes in times like these, you do reflect, and memories matter, and you do hold dear, some of the fun experiences that you've obviously gone through. And so for us, reliving last year's run to the Final Four, a run that had to go through the blue buds of the world of college basketball as Auburn was trying to carve out its niche in the world of credibility in college basketball, just like we've carved it out in the world of academia or football or so many other sports. We're fine. Life's different right now. I miss my players. I don't know if they miss me, but I miss them because we were around each other all day, every day. And feel especially bad for the seniors because this team really embraced making history and making their own history because we lost so many great players from that Final Four team a year ago. This team was supposed to be good, not great. And in many ways, they were great.
That's exactly right. You've said in the past, adversity doesn't build character, it reveals character. How do you think that applies in this situation?
Well, I think that you want to try to prepare your teams and you want to try to prepare young people to be their best when things are at their worst. I mean, we can all sail the ship when the winds are calm and the seas are favorable. It's when it starts to blow really hard and it starts to chop that you need to have all hands on deck. I mean, who's going to jump overboard? Who's going to panic and get in a life raft and leave everybody else behind? So what I say is, and I really should rephrase that because I think adversity reveals character more than it builds it. I don't want a bunch of adversity to have my character built, but I do know in troubling times it's going to get revealed. So therefore, you have an opportunity in difficult times to separate yourself. And I always tell my guys, it is so easy to be complimented by doing the right thing because not enough people just simply do the right thing. And a lot of times I'll get comments on what I'm doing. I'm going, wait. I'm just doing my job. Or I'm just being a good father. Or I'm just being a good neighbor. Don't need to compliment me for doing those things. But when I'm teaching young people, going, wait a second. Because not everybody will. You have a chance to lead, let the light shine upon you, and demonstrate your character when we're facing difficult times. So right now, there's a lot of things that are being revealed about who is going to be able to be all hands on deck and get through the storm, and who's going to be jumping overboard.
You've been busy this week and last week, ever since we've been at home. What have you been doing?
Well, a lot of time on the phone. A lot of time, text messaging, communicating with our players, our staff, catching up with some friends and some donors, checking in on older people. Trying to take advantage of the fact that I've been going 100 miles an hour since, September of last year. And we've had a little bit of a downtime, so trying to catch a little bit more rest. I got to stop eating. I mean, I've never gone home for lunch, and I'm home for lunch, right? And I love to eat. I love to cook, so I've got to, and the workouts obviously are different. Trying to figure out where we can continue to help, where we can make a difference. We're working on a project right now. The Jason Duffner Foundation has been providing snacks and food for students that are involved in the lunch program where they get free lunches and going to school, and providing them with Thursday afternoon, Friday backpacks and snacks, so they can go home over the weekend and just have some food that that is in my cupboard and your cupboard, but not in every kid's cupboard. And they've been doing that for years. And so the Bruce Pearl Family Foundation, the Hudson Foundation, the Jason Dubner Foundation, Church of the Highlands, the Dream Center, the Auburn City Schools, the Food Bank, several other organizations have all gotten together and said, look, we got to take this program and we got to put it on steroids. We got to not only continue to provide these weekend meals, we got to provide some meals during the course of the week. And so we've jumped in with both feet to assist the food bank to make sure that boxes of about between 35 and 70 pounds of food are actually going to families in our area, so they don't have, because they may not have the money to go to the store to buy groceries, or they're elderly and shouldn't be able to get out. And we distributed about 2,400 packages last week, and we're going to try to double that this week.
And I think that illustrates that folks are staying busy, they're coming together, and they're finding new ways to connect in the community.
Absolutely.
The current disruption has made all of us, I really think, a little more reflective about life and about the relationships that give meaning to our lives. Family matters. Friendships matter. You had a special friendship with Tennessee Lady Vols legendary head coach Pat Summitt. Tell us about that.
You know, I have been asked about Pat in a long time, but I know we got some of these questions from some of your students. That was part of why we decided to go on this Facebook Live, was to hear from our students and to be able to tell some stories. So anytime I get a chance to tell a story about Pat Summitt, I relish that. Pat's number one. She's known for being a great basketball coach, but she was a great woman and a great person, and she was a very good basketball coach. She was a great mother, a great friend. She was a great leader, and she never ever had to apologize to her Lady Vols. They chose to come play for her. She told them how difficult it was going to be. She made sure they understood there were going to be easier decisions if they went someplace else. So she never had to apologize for holding to a high expectation. And she created something that was very difficult to create, and that's a brand. It was called the Lady Vols. I mean, there was a following. That was a cult. And she was obviously a great leader because she had high expectations, high standards, high ethics and morals about the way to do things. And I used to tell student athletes when they came in the recruiting process, says, look, there are a lot of good basketball coaches out there. There's nobody that you could possibly ever play for that can teach you to be a great woman or a great person, like Pat Summitt. Now, Pat set the bar high. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Pat was one of those people that would call you into the office and you would have these "How's Bruce" moments. But she just didn't want, "Oh, we're fine." No. She wanted to know about your wife, your kids, your dog, your parent. She wanted, "How's Bruce" on the inside. So after my second year at Auburn, we had one of those discussions. And she wasn't just going to take a couple of, "No, I mean, how are you really?" So I said, "Pat, I'm fine. But I'll tell you, it is hard to tell. Do people like me because they like me? Or they like me because I come to Tennessee and we won a couple championships?" I'm like, "Pat, what if we don't keep winning?" She says to you, "Coach, let me put it to you this way. They will love you, but they will miss you." Which meaning you better keep winning.
So she was quite a mentor and a friend.
Oh yeah, she was great mentor, great friend. She would be out there leading in times like this. She'd pick up the phone and reach out to you at the strangest times, and that's one of the things that we could all do right now is sit there and say, whose life could you touch? One of the best ways to hurt somebody's feelings is not even to be mad at them, not to be angry with them, not to even sometimes be mean to them, although none of those things are right. The biggest way you can hurt somebody's feelings is to ignore them. Exactly. People if they don't hear from you, then they don't matter. Right now we have a chance to reflect, and we could touch people's that we just don't have time for as much time in our busy days to make sure they know they matter and you care about them, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm encouraging people to do. Pick up the phone, get on FaceTime, and make sure people that know that they matter. Don't ignore them.
and share the stories that matter the most. And Coach, you are a masterful storyteller. And really, from the beginning of time, humans have used storytelling as a way to convey wisdom, teach ourselves how to act, and to get through troubling times. And as we move through life, we collect these stories, and in some ways, probably they collect us. So I want to ask you about a couple of stories, and maybe if you have a story, I don't know, about officials. Do you have a story about officials?
You're not allowed to talk about officials because there could be a fine that goes along with commenting about officials, but these are different times. So I'm going to tell you one of my favorite official stories. So my first year at Tennessee, we actually went to Rupp Arena and we won. It was the last time I won up at Rupp Arena. Chris Lofton was a great player for me, Kentucky boy, and he went off and we had a great win. Second year at Tennessee, we go back up to Kentucky. And of course, when you play in Kentucky at Kentucky, it's always 5 against 8. Your 5 players, their 5 players, plus their 3 officials. It's 5 versus 8. That's a joke. And we're getting beat pretty good, and I'm not very happy with officiating at all. So with about a minute left to go in the game, I call timeout. We're down like 14. There's not a 14-point play. My kids are coming over to the bench, go, Coach, what are we doing in timeout? Just shut up and sit down. And so I tell my best defensive player, I said, when we break this huddle, I want you to get out there. I want you to guard that official right there. Not that guy and not that guy. That guy right over there. He's like, he asks a question. What are you talking about? My assistant coach says, shut up and just go guard that official. So meanwhile, the crowd's booing because if Kentucky wins by a certain number of points and they can get to this burger joint in time, they're all going to get free fries. And I'm going to try to call timeouts so they don't get their free fries because they beat Tennessee by more than 10 points or whatever it is. Referee inbounds the ball, and my best defensive player goes up and he gets his hands up and he starts waving his arms and he's covering this official. Referee blows a whistle. He walks over to me. He says, Coach Pearl, would you mind telling me what's going on? He said, absolutely. My high school coach, he always told me to put my best defensive player on the guy that's hurt me the worst. Technical foul. So that was fun. So if you ever see one of my players guarding the official, you'll know why.
Coach, we hope we don't see that happen again.
No, you don't want to see that again.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Well, one of the opportunities for student athletes, and you illustrate this well, is that they get to have experiences in college that they wouldn't have otherwise because of their hard work, because of their talent. And you've taken student athletes out of the country to play. Tell us a story about playing internationally.
Well, this has been, obviously, intercollegiate athletics has done so much to shape our country. Think about, African-American student athletes that were recruited to college campuses. It was the door opening for a next level education. And with that followed African-American students and women and other ethnic groups, so on and so forth. And college campuses became diverse, education opportunity available to all. And I'm so very, very proud of the role that intercollegiate athletics plays on college campuses. Our graduation rate for men's basketball is up into the 90 percentile right now. 10 years ago, it wasn't. But we've done so many things to, encourage and create rules that really made guys have to stay on track in order to graduate. Otherwise, they wouldn't be eligible. And you know what? When you set the bar a little higher, people find a way to reach that bar. And so I just think there's a lot that's talked about, written about, of things that are wrong with intercollegiate athletics. So much of it is right. And obviously for student athletes, the opportunity to travel and to compete at the highest level, and the opportunities to go play professionally. Every 4 years, the NCAA lets you take a foreign trip. And we have taken advantage of that, obviously over the years. And let's see, our last trip, we went to Italy. And, right now, the perspective on what's going on over in Italy with the coronavirus, our guys were in Florence, they were in Milan, they were in the northern part of the country. And when they're reading about what's going on over there, they could, I was in Siena, I was there. What a great experience to be able to travel. And I think I think when teams come closer, and the reason why sometimes families come closer is you experiencing things together. And so, for me in coaching, my life's greatest moments have been things that have been accomplished with my family and my closest friends. Think about your life's greatest accomplishments. I just got a phone call from my grandchild. My daughter, Leah, FaceTime me with my beautiful little grandbaby Chaya. That's the best part of my day. There'd be nothing that happens to me. Think about what my daughter, she reached out to me knowing what obviously what that would mean. So competing, being in adverse situations in a game, and coming out on the other side. Those are experiences that you never forget. Traveling abroad with our basketball team, thanking Auburn, obviously, and our donors who helped make a trip like that possible. And guess what? Next year, Lord willing, we'll be traveling overseas, and our destination next year will be the land of milk and honey, the state of Israel.
The Auburn family has been very involved in the Outlive initiative, and students have been quite involved. And I suspect you have received some stories of human resilience against cancer that will inspire as well.
Well, Outlive was something that we brought to Auburn from Tennessee. It was Outlive, OUTLIVE. And of course, the best way to outlive cancer is to detect it early. That's the best way to outlive cancer. And so to go through the screenings and the processes that you need to go through to find out if you have it, and then the earlier you catch it, the better chances you're going to have of dying of something else. And that's what Outlive is all about. And of course, the money that we raise through the sale of t-shirts and donations, every single penny goes to patients who are battling cancer. This is not about it's not about research. We're not raising enough money to cure cancer. But families have got to go through this together. A dad's got to go to work, but he's also got to go get his chemo treatment. He's got to get his radiation. He's going to miss time at work. The mortgage payment's still due, so on and so forth. We give the money to about 9 agencies in the state of Alabama, hospitals, cancer centers, that know who their patients are and know the patients that need the financial support. So we obviously have made a huge difference, and I'm grateful for the Auburn community to have adopted this program. It is AUTLIVE, and together, we're going to outlive this virus, and together we're going to outlive cancer. But when people are going through things like battling cancer, it's nice and it's comforting to know that they're not having to go through it alone. The doctors and the nurses, my goodness gracious, where in the world would we be without the caregivers? Where would we be without our teachers? Where would we be? And right now, those people are on the front lines. They go to work every day putting their lives on the line to save others. I mean, my gosh, what an incredible ministry. So we need to take time and call a 20-second timeout and make sure if we know a nurse, we know a doctor, we know someone that works in a hospital on the staff that's providing support services. Right now, you can't give them a hug because we got to keep our distance. But just make sure, just like we do for our military and just like we should do for our law enforcement, say thank you. When it comes time, next time I see a doc or a nurse in their gown at a breakfast place, I'm buying them breakfast.
Coach, I've got a list of quick questions from students. As you know, students are being resilient as well right now. They're dislocated. They're learning online. I know you've heard the reports that they really are rising to the occasion and completing their courses with great strength. But first, before I ask you some of these fun questions, because they do want to hear from their coach, what have students meant to you, and what has surprised you about the student body here at Auburn?
Man, that's a great question, Mark. I compliment Auburn students for making the decision to come here because it tells me something about who you are. It just does. It says these are the people that you want to be around. Surround yourself with great people. You got a chance to be pretty special yourself. This is an amazing community. It is a family. People come here to work. They come here to grind. They come here to be great. They come here to get better. They come here to live life the right way. Yes, we're young and we can still have fun. We can have a good time, but we keep it in perspective. And we support one another, and we live obviously by that creed. And so I've been a lot of places. I've never been happier, been a place at Auburn, and I think it's because of the kind of students that come here. And right now, our students need to lead. They need to lead. They need to continue. Look, this isn't easy. To finish up your classes right now. Typically you want something done, ask somebody that's really busy to do it, and it gets done. Right now, our students have got more time on their hands than ever, and I'm sure they're finding a hard time sitting down getting their work done because they've got so much time. It's just different. They're not in the workplace. They're not in the library. They're not in a setting that's conducive necessarily to learning. And yet, just because those factors don't make it easy, now we got to grind. Now we got to get it done. That's when we separate ourselves as Auburn family. So compete. Finish what you started. Don't take advantage of the situation. Take full advantage of it by getting your work done, being accountable, just like the Auburn students are. And I'm confident that that our students are doing the best they can to learn and to continue making progress towards their degrees.
Thanks, Coach. Here's some questions. Students would love to know, when you were a kid, what was your dream job?
My dream job, probably to be a landscaper. I love flowers. I love cutting the grass. I love edging, and I love putting in irrigation systems, and I love watering, and I love fertilizing, and I hate weeds. I'm just telling you right now. You come over, you're going to see my grass. It's going to be cut. It's going to be green. Oh, there's going to be a problem.
Coach, favorite sport as a child?
Oh, I was a much better football player than I was anything else, but man, I loved to play football. Unfortunately, my freshman year in high school, I got pretty badly hurt. My knee got racked up, and I never was a great athlete after that. But yeah, man, I love me some football.
Favorite pre or post game meal? Let's talk food.
Well, I'm not superstitious, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm a big routine guy. And so I will typically 4 hours before the game have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I get pretty wired before the games, and so especially in home games, I'll eat some peanut butter and jelly. And then after the game, if we win, everything and anything. If we lose, I'm on starvation mode.
Coach, we know you like to work the grill at home, and you've spent some time in the South. And so, for the record, barbecue sauce, vinegar-based, mustard-based, tomato-based?
Well, it's probably vinegar-based. Every now and then, I don't mind a little sweet sauce. And I've come to like that white stuff that y'all in Alabama that we put on those sandwiches. Whatever that white stuff is, man, I love it.
After you enjoy that barbecue, favorite dessert?
Man, I love dessert, man. Obviously, look at me. I love dessert. And anything chocolate. Obviously, probably vanilla cake, chocolate frosting, pretty hard to beat. I'm a big pecan or apple pie guy. So the worst dessert I ever had was pretty good.
Students want to know about dream vacation. Where would you go?
Man, all right, dream vacation. Someplace with my wife, Brandy. Someplace that had amazing coffee when you woke up in the morning. I'm a big sunrise and sunset guy. Let me tell you something. Can I ask a favor? Set your alarm and get up and watch the sun come up. I'm telling you, there is no more peaceful, beautiful. The colors change every second as the sun is coming up, and it's just it's quiet, peaceful. If you could do it out on a lake, that would be even better. And of course, the sunsets last longer, and they're romantic and they're beautiful. A little water, a little sun, some really good food. Anything outside, anything involving a walk or a bike ride or a hike or playing golf or being in the water, anything outside, I love to do. I already said great food and a little bit of rest and relaxation with my wife. Is there time to read a couple pages in a book? That wouldn't be bad either.
Students, you heard Coach, set those clocks. I think you ought to take a picture of sunrise and tweet it to Coach.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Coach, students want to know about the pets you got at home. Dogs or cats? Both?
I'm a dog guy. I gotta be a dog guy. My wife is part owner of the Grove Bark Inn. There's a shameless plug right there. We've got 7 mobile grooming vans, and I tell you what, our groomers are artists. They're amazing. We can't find enough talented groomers. If we could, we'd have more than 7 vans. There's such great demand for that. We're able to pull into somebody's house, and the dog comes out of the house and comes into the van, and about an hour later, they get all cleaned up. It's pretty good. So I'm a dog guy.
What do these dogs think about you being home so much right now?
Loving on them, taking them out for walks, and all my kids have got dogs, and so not only do we have dogs, but we're often babysitting our kids' dogs.
Tell us about your favorite Auburn tradition.
My favorite Auburn tradition. There's a lot of them. Obviously, last year or at different times, you wondered whether your victory warranted the Tumor's Corner getting rolled, And always, I'm so grateful for our students and the support, the passion. We've created this jungle that's the best home court advantage in all of college basketball. And I'm telling you, man, the kids have to get out there and stand in line to get the good seats. Fortunately, Auburn did it right when they made sure that our students got the best seats in the house down there in the lower bowl. And so I'm just happy that we're able to provide that study break for our students in a really good competitive way. But I'll tell you my favorite tradition. And I've been in a lot of great football arenas and great football stadiums and seen a lot of great football traditions every place I've been. I've never seen anything like the 20 minutes prior to kickoff as what happens in Jordan-Hare Stadium. I think it's the combination of God Bless America, the way we honor our flag, the way we honor our military, the way we stand for the national anthem, the way the eagle flies, and on certain games when those jets fly over. It's just so proud to be an American. I'm grateful that Auburn takes a leadership in loving on our country and recognizing our country. And it's cool to be patriotic and love our country at Auburn. And I think that I wish that could spread everywhere. We're so fortunate to live in these times. These are the best of times. And this is the best country. Because of all the good that we're doing and all the good that we're obviously capable of doing. So I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be in that stadium, prior to a football game, celebrating our country and our school, with 90,000.
Those coach on Facebook are asking questions, and they're interested in what you tell teams when you're down. I'm gonna ask the question this way. I want you to pretend you're in a tough game. The refs are giving you the eye. You've already thrown your coat off. The commentators, all they want to talk about is how much you sweat. Right. You call a timeout. The team has got to do something in order to turn the game around. What do you tell them?
Well, there's a couple things we're going to tell them. Sometimes I'm going to get them all together. I'm going to say, can I tell you why I called timeout? You guys want to know why I called timeout? I called timeout so that guy down there could talk to his team because he's going to screw it up. And just to get them to laugh. Not that that guy's going to screw it up, but or I won't tell you all the things that I'll do. But I'll say some things or do some things to get them to laugh. I may point somebody out in the crowd, and we may have a joke, or just to cut the moment down, and get them to chill. The other thing I do is I'm always going to be honest with them. I'm going to be honest with them what we need to do, what has to happen here, and I got to. If I don't have the vision for it, if I can't predict and see the future and know that if we do this and this, we will win, I've got to be able to tell them that, and they obviously have got to be able to get out there and do it. I think the other thing too is you take it in segments. If it's late in the game, we got 30 seconds. If it's 10 minutes to go in the game, then we got these different 4-minute segments. Let's win these next 4 minutes, and let's win the next 4 minutes, and let's close the gap. And by golly, this year we won 4 or 5 overtime games, and we came back from double-digit deficits all the time because the one thing we weren't going to do is we weren't going to quit. We weren't going to beat ourselves, and we always know who our opponent is.
So now, Coach, last question. Here we are. Everybody out there, we are all confused and uncertain. We fear for healthcare workers. We fear for elders. We fear for our children and ourselves. We're in the huddle with you.
Yep.
We need a little pep talk from Coach. We need a reminder of what we should do. What do we do?
Well, I know everybody's heard it before, but there are a lot of things that we can do to slow down the spread of this deadly disease. Number one is to stay healthy. How do you stay healthy? You take care of yourself. You work on getting your rest. You work on trying to eat right. You work on trying to get outside and exercise appropriately. You do the things that you need to do to take care of your health so that when you do come in contact with the virus, and we're all going to come in contact with it, you're going to survive it. To prevent it, you're going to wash your hands all the time to make sure that you have those clean hands every time you come and go, anytime you change your environment, every time you wake up, every time you go to bed. Wash your hands. 20 seconds, 25 seconds, warm water, vigorously. Keep your hands away from your face as best you possibly can. Touch less things. Move things with your elbow. Move things with your feet. Social distancing makes a difference. Staying away from crowds. Staying away from 6 feet away from people. It makes a difference. Why do we need to do these things? Because if we all catch the virus at the same time, those hospital workers that we love, they're going to be overrun. You want to let those people be able to go home and not have to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, or whatever they're working right now? Then we need to do our part on the outside by keeping our distance, by paying attention, by staying at home except when it's appropriate. It's okay to be outside. It's okay to go to a walk. It's okay to ride your bike. You've just got to keep your distance. It's easier for us out here in Auburn, Alabama, where fortunately we've got space between one another. It's harder when you're in a more densely populated area. So you might have to get your walk early in the morning when everybody else is asleep, and think about things along those lines. Look, we got to do our part to slow the curve, and to not have our hospitals be overrun like they are in New York City, like they will be in our larger populated areas. At this point, there's not a lot we can do about it other than getting these people treated. I know that our scientists and our doctors are working on treatment ways, and the vast majority of patients are being treated and are being saved. And some are going to respond to it negatively. And then, of course, we're going to work on having some sort of a cure and some sort of something that we can take to prevent us from getting the disease when the time comes. That's away. In the meantime, let's do what we're told. Let's play by the rules. Let's understand that the more we play by these rules now, the sooner we're going to get back to what we know as to be normal. And I hope it's sooner than later. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. And for those folks that are listening that are Auburn men and women, let's continue to take the lead. And let's do the right thing. That's what the creed tells us to do. Warrior.
Folks, it's time for our timeout to end, and we appreciate being in the huddle with Coach Pearl. Coach, thanks for being with us today.
Mark, thank you for having us with us. God bless and be safe.